Carolyn Richards, and in this chapter, we'll discuss the methodology we developed to ensure that not only incremental code reform recommendations are context sensitive to local conditions, but that they can work in many Michigan towns and cities. I want to start by reviewing what we're trying to accomplish with our incremental coding process. We want to focus on a statewide approach to determine the most problematic barriers that occur in most communities in Michigan. And instead of focusing on all the coding changes that would guarantee a great place, we start with one code change that can enable a better place. Places evolve over time, and small coding changes can help enable and facilitate the changes the communities want to see. To do this work, we draw on CNU members who are nationally recognized experts in the coding and land development regulations. For the Michigan code reform effort that led to Enabling Better Place, a user's guide to code reform, Mary Madden, Susan Henderson, Matt Lambert, Marcy McAnally, Karen Perolik, and Dan Sloan all participated and contributed to developing the methodology and the resulting guide. For the second document, Enabling Better Places, Commercial Corridors, and Shopping Centers, Susan Henderson, Matt Lambert, and Bill Spakowski participated. Another essential component is identifying the stakeholders. Who are the people involved in changing code, such as council people, planning directors, consultants, state agencies, and community members? To accomplish real incremental code reform, we need to assemble a team of local leaders that include and solicits input from individuals and groups with different perspectives on the work being proposed. The stakeholders and partners are an essential step in the process to ensuring context sensitivity. When CNU does code reform in any given state, we collaborate with state partners as well as regional and local experts. In Michigan, we partnered with the Michigan Municipal League, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, the Michigan State Housing and Development Agency, the Michigan American Planning Association, and Michigan AARP. We learned that any top-down approach is less likely to succeed. However, the more people and organizations we can involve in the process, the more excitement and support we can build. And most importantly, that any of the land development regulations proposed will be the ones most needed by the community and its residents. Our state partners identified a number of local communities who generously opened their doors to their processes and participated in the research and design of these guides. We're incredibly grateful to all of their time and effort that they put into this process. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to develop these guides. With partners and case study communities identified, we started research into Michigan coding practices. We looked at the current conditions of land use codes across the state, both the regulations themselves, but also the capacity that those regulations and the related processes demand, in order to determine where reform may be most possible. We found that while we may know what is likely to be the most problematic coding barriers, we always start by asking our case study communities to tell us their experience. We do that through the code analysis rubric we developed that creates a baseline for the coding issues in that community. We analyze the results of the research, and then we ask our case study communities to present their coding challenges and opportunities to the team. In this workshop, we discuss the challenges these communities are facing, as well as the opportunities they see and where they most need help. As common themes begin to emerge, our team is able to get a sense of where the biggest little things may be to incrementally reform just those areas of local codes that are creating the biggest problematic barriers for creating more walkable, vibrant, and prosperous places. Following the sessions with the case study communities, the team then works on those common recommendations that would apply to most cities and towns in Michigan, and that could have the biggest impact towards enabling the outcomes the communities are seeking. Essential to any code reform process is listening. Ask questions, listen more, and then together to start developing the solutions. Once during a workshop in Michigan, and I made it really clear that this was a working meeting, the meeting participants were a little shocked when after the introductory remarks, we broke into groups with computers and a shared Google documents, and I asked them to start writing the sections where they had the best knowledge. It's one thing to listen, but it's like another to get them to write down what their experience is. Our partners, led by the Michigan Municipal League, identified people in specific Michigan communities who could review the document. We have found that this is a vital part of our methodology, ensuring that the recommended code reforms make sense, are appropriate to the issues facing many Michigan towns and cities, and will work to enable the changes communities are seeking. Finally, the incremental code reform process relies on this part of the process, the training and education of folks who will actually be using the document and implementing the reform it encourages. When everything is done, written down, and approved, creating a broad coalition to go back to the local communities and stakeholders and working through the implementation issues together is essential to the process. No one wants to see a document not used, and yet we all know that there's going to be unforeseen stumbling blocks. In the same way that a collaborative process helped to create the coding solutions, a collaborative process can help create the solutions to the implementation barriers. From this point forward, C&U's role is far less significant. The real work now lies with you all, participating in the course and bringing these techniques back to your city or town and identifying and acting on these bite-sized changes that you can make in your own code reform efforts to enable more walkable and prosperous areas of your own communities. And I want to thank you for giving me your time and attention for this chapter.